Okay, good evening, everyone. This is welcome to our April 6th session today. I am remote, and I see that we have council members Faux Lingua Kalan is also on, and is there anyone present in the council chambers?
I am, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you for holding down the fort. Um, all right, is there an agenda in front of us? You pull it up on the screen.
It'll just be one moment, sir.
No problem. Okay. Um, Before we jump into the agenda, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and then we'll get started. So if you are able to stand, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you all. We have an agenda in front of us. Any amendments or stated conflicts of interest items for the agenda?
None here.
Thank you. Okay, a couple proclamations, some budget
None other.
stuff. Okay, no. Councilmember Worsnop, I see you've joined. Welcome. Um, any conflicts of interest from anyone from council? Any changes to the agenda? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as submitted or as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe and second by Councilmember Kalam. Any debate on this motion? Okay. We'll go to roll call vote. Don't see Councilmember Smith, and so Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Worsnop,
Aye.
and Councilmember Kalan.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The motion passes 5-0. Okay. First up, we have the monthly finance report.
Mr. Jones.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. Tonight's finance report is for the month of March. We cover and yeah, fiscal year 26, 25, 24, as well as the year to date. So for March, revenues came in strong at about 630,000, which is up a bit from the same month last year, as well as 2024. On the expenditure side, we spent just about 677,000 in March, also a bit lower than the same month last year, but consistent with what we've seen in prior years. Looking at the year to date through March, we've collected roughly $10.9 million, or about 93% of our annual budget, compared to around 91% at this point last year. Expenditures total about 7.4 million, or 63% of budget, which is also on target. And at this point, yeah, overall, the town is expected to reach its budgeted revenue as well as stay within its budgeted expenditures. If there are any questions regarding finance reports, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Director Jones, any questions on the monthly finance report?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Councilmember.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Jones, you said that essentially we're at 93% of collected revenues, and that expenditures are a similar ratio. In comparison to other years, is there anything that you notice that is trending up or trending down?
Yeah,
That's of interest.
one thing in particular would be just on the revenue side, because this is the first year we've implemented the red light cameras. So that's one thing that we've taken note of. The revenue is performing as we had expected, but it is
Mm-hmm.
a category. So, we've been monitoring that very closely. But that's pretty much the main thing that we've seen, at least in the month of March, as far as revenue is concerned, and it is trending in an upward direction.
Okay. And based on projections that you made as were creating this budget and as you have created budgets over the year, are you finding that these numbers are falling in within a few percentage points, either plus or minus, with your projections, or are you seeing some years with outliers, one way or the other?
So in preparation for the fiscal year 27 budget, as far as the red light cameras are concerned, we still, because it's the first year, our projections, we're going to make them a bit conservative. We don't want to
Okay.
rely on those numbers because we've only had 1 year and don't have a lot
Right.
of historical. As
Right.
far as the speed cameras, because we do have more historical data, we've been falling pretty in line with what we have projected. So we feel pretty confident about the speed camera numbers.
Okay. Well, I understand about that. I was thinking more in terms of generally overall about the
Mhm.
budget.
Oh yeah, and as far as the overall budget is concerned from a revenue standpoint, yeah, we're right on schedule with what we had projected out. Again, we do collect, the majority of our revenues in the months of October, November, December. So we're exactly where we expect to be at this point.
As well as expenditures, yes?
Yep, yep. Yeah,
Okay.
last year, yeah, we were at 62% at this point, and we're just up 1% at 63%.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other questions? And if not, is there a motion to approve the monthly finance report subject to audit?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember.
I'd like to motion to approve the monthly financial audit,
Financial report.
finance report. Sorry.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe and second by Councilmember Lingua. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Smith, I see you joined. Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua,
Aye.
Councilmember Warsop,
Aye.
and Councilmember Cologne.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Deputy Director. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the correspondence summary.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. We have 3 items tonight on the correspondence summary. 2 directly relate to the preliminary Port Town sector plan and the proposed sectional map amendment. One is just simply a notice of those items. The links are embedded into the letters. The second one is a notice of the joint public hearing, which is coming up in May. The third item I wanted to note, although it's dated February the 12th, we just received it. It was postmarked March the 19th. And this was a notice of an annual transportation plan application for grant funds. So DPW&T is applying for a grant and they're required to provide notice. And that letter is the notice. All 3 documents are behind the correspondence summary.
Thank you, Deputy Town Manager. No issues with it, the postmark being what it was. We're still on, it didn't impact us in any way.
I don't believe that there's any issues, but I just wanted to make sure the council knew that we weren't holding it for a month.
Appreciate the clarification. Any comments on the correspondence from council? Comments or questions? Okay. Okay, thank you. Next up, we have public comments. Once again, if there's anyone in the room, please raise your hand. You'll be acknowledged. If you're online, please raise your hand and we'll make sure to get to you. I see Ms. Katz, you're up first for public comment.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just have two questions. My first question is, will the work session from March 30th be posted at any point? I haven't seen it posted yet. And my second question is regarding the proposed budget. Will that be available before the first public input session this Saturday?
Mr. Mayor, would you like me to provide brief responses to those two inquiries?
Yes, if you can.
The first, staff's apology. Yes, the video from the 30th will be posted. We anticipate that happening tomorrow. In reference to the budget, this evening, we have two documents that'll be posted to the website. One is a budget guide, which gives detailed information about the budget. And then the second is a budget summary, which provides the numbers and broken down by cost center to include the significant changes. The budget books will be available online by the end of the week. And the first budget public hearing is next Monday, not on Saturday. It's next Monday at 7 p.m.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the information.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Anyone in person or online? We'll give it a minute and then we'll move on if there's no other public comments.
Mr. Mayor, there's no other residents attending the meeting this evening.
Okay. Thank you for the update. Okay. So with that, we will move to presentations and close public comments. If someone walks in the door, let me know. Happy to give them an opportunity for public comments. All right, the first presentation we have is the April as Earth Month. Okay. Proclamation in honor of Earth Month 2026. Whereas care for the earth is central to our survival, and whereas Earth Day has evolved from the 1970s teach-in on college campuses to 54 years of action involving 190 countries and more than 1 billion people. And whereas despite ongoing efforts by many, the earth remains in dire need of attention and action on the local, state, national, and international levels. And whereas there is a need to expand the local tree canopy to improve water quality, to reduce waste and litter, and to educate each other on improving the environment. And whereas the town of Riverdale Park has established a vision and commitment to sustainability and has created a sustainability committee, which is comprised of active and dedicated volunteers focused on improving the local government. And whereas the town of Riverdale Park has developed the Green Team Initiative and associated grant programs, installed energy efficient features and fixtures on town buildings, it incorporates sustainable practices into its daily operations. And whereas highlighting April as Earth Month provides the necessary focus while advocating for Earth Day everyday action. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the town of Riverdale Park do hereby proclaim April as Earth Month and encourage all residents, businesses, visitors, and employees to join with the Riverdale Park Sustainability Committee in taking action every day to improve our planet and make our lives and the lives of future generations healthy, and sustainable. And yes, in witness of thereunto, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Riverdale Park, Maryland to be affixed the 6th day of April, 2026. Awesome. I always appreciate that. I think it's a lot of great things that are happening this month. And so really do appreciate all the work that the Sustainability Committee, all the initiatives, all the residents who really bring not only their expertise, but their passion and really guidance in terms of, helping make our part of the world and the larger community a safer, better place for us and for future generations. Thank you. Okay, next, proclamation in recognition of Arbor Day. All right, whereas, so proclamation 2026 Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day, first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas the mayor and council commit to operations, programs, initiatives, legislation, and resources that support the town's tree canopy, therefore be it resolved that the town of Riverdale Park, mayor and council do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in the town of Riverdale Park and call upon everyone in our community to observe this day with the appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Riverdale Park, Maryland to be affixed this 6th day of April, 2026. Fantastic. Okay. Best parts of the job. All right, next up, we have a presentation on the summary of the FY27 proposed operating and capital improvement plan budget.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the community, and the staff team. I am pleased to appear before you this evening to present and to let you all know that staff have balanced a proposed budget for fiscal 2027. The budget guide is a document that was first created last year. That was our first year of trying to take a 400-page book and to package it in smaller pieces. So we have both a budget guide and separately a budget summary. The budget guide is a 37-page document, and the summary is 42 pages. These two documents provide a condensed version and highlighted version of the budget. It's not quite at a glance, but it's much more condensed than the entire budget book. The staff worked really hard on putting together these proposed documents, and Mr. Jones reminds us each month that we follow GFOA standards for Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. We fully anticipate that award being given for this budget when we submit that after adoption. As we enter this phase of the budget, it's important that we call to mind the uncertainty that's happening, but to also put it in a little bit of perspective. We've had incredible uncertainty economically for the last 6+ years. It was 6 years ago that everything shut down because of COVID. During that time, since then, there's been a lot of other uncertainty. As you'll read in the budget message, which is in the budget guide and will also be in the budget book, a lot of uncertainty is caused by the current federal administration and changing positions and some impulsive decision making and turbulent things really cause uncertainty in the markets, but whether that be impact on trade with tariffs, the cost of construction, the uncertainty of interest rates. All those things have caused delays in development. We talked a little bit about this during the state of the town. And we're also seeing some changes in development. It's staff's position that we have managed these uncertain times well. And we have paid down all of the PNC loan. We've lowered our debt expenses. And that now's the time to invest further in providing enhanced services, to provide support in economic development through recruitment and retention efforts, as well as concentrating on accountability and transparency internally. And I talked last week about adding a number of, at the state of the town, about adding a number of positions. It's important to know that we're balancing adding positions through the elimination of some positions, both full-time and part-time positions. And you'll read more about that in this message. But staff have always taken the approach of finding balance. And so we're not asking to add, simply to add, but adding for a purpose. And also looking at our operations and saying, well, if we need to add here, are there areas where we can constrict and lower expenses? And that's also here in this document. The assessable base has grown year over year by 8.8%. The lion's share of that is on the residential side. The commercial growth rate is in a little over 2%, depending on what sector of the commercial base you're looking at. If you go to, and Mr. Chelton, can we go to page 6 of this document? So there's a graph. Well, there's some text at the top, and it would be page 6 of the actual PDF. Yes. So at the top, it says how much the proposed budget is, and it's $13,122,142. That's an 11.89% increase year over year. What this chart then shows, if we take a look at this, if you can bring that to the center of the screen, the red line represents what staff have projected to be the inflation for this year. If you listen to domestic sources, they're saying, oh, we'll probably stay in the 2.5, 2.8 range. If you look globally and what others are saying about the U.S. economy, we're hearing 4.2, maybe 4.5. So we're being conservative and saying 3.8. And that's after thoughtful discussions and lots of reading on the part of the staff team. And so if that 3.8 line is inflation, and you look at, well, what's above the inflation and year over year by cost center and what's below. The section that follows on this page and on to the next page spells out succinctly what's the source of increased expenditures. So salaries In addition to a proposed 2.5% COLA, cost of living adjustment, and the potential performance increases of up to 2.5, depending on where someone is on the approved pay range plan, they can receive a merit step increase as well. The increase in salary expense also includes previously unfunded positions or partially funded positions, and then the new positions. The benefits also increases a lot here. The benefits are up 14.3%. So what's wrapped up in that is a modest increase. We're actually happy with the increase wasn't higher. And the increase in the premium is about 4.14%. Excuse me. An issue that I've brought to the council over the years is we have to be concerned about the number of employees that we have on a single plan versus on a family plan. And historically, it's been pretty evenly split. The difference is how much the town has to pay for that healthcare benefit between the two plans, because we pay 78% of the healthcare benefit. The employee pays 22%. And so with this shift, that's also increasing the cost of healthcare benefit and benefits overall, as well as with additional staff, you also pay into retirement, and the actuarially determined contribution to the retirement plan. That's increasing this as well. And then the impact on salaries. So included in the benefits are things driven by salaries. So salaries go up, so do retirement benefits because it's a percent ratio, and so do taxes because it's a percent ratio. Contractual services are a reason for an increase here, 16.48%. And the primary causes for that, we do plan on contracting out janitorial services this year, increased tree maintenance cost, the anticipated stop sign automated enforcement cost, the shift from the school zone, school hour speed enforcement to 24-hour speed enforcement, and the anticipated new vendor for legal services. Those are the reasons why those expenditures are going up. When we look at operating costs, that's another area where we had a significant increase. And they're primarily tied to street lighting, higher equipment and supply cost, hiring and training investments, and higher liability insurance. The other two areas where we saw above inflationary increases, we saw an increase in the municipal buildings, and that's primarily for additional maintenance for the town center clock. And then for events, a little bit above inflationary cost, and that's for more events and community building activities that are planned. So good to mark this page as a reference. So when you're going through things in more detail, you come back and say, why is that costing us more? And this is a quick guide. Here's what's in those numbers. The next section shows several graphs, but I'm going to ask that we go to page 10. It's a pie chart. And this chart details the cost or the percent of the overall budget by cost center. And good to go back and compare that to last year. There's not a lot of change there. There's subtle changes to this. The next chart shows a 6-year operating by major expense category. And it's good to take a look at this. And I want to point out that when you look at last year's budget, we always talk about salaries, benefits, and overtime being the majority of the budget. So even though the budget has grown by the 11.89%, when you look at percent of budget, last year, the current year approved budget, 67.2% of the current budget is for salaries, is for benefits, and for overtime. Fast forward to the proposed budget, 67.34. A 0.12 difference, or 1.4 difference year over year in that area. So I think that puts in perspective that there's not many outliers here, if any. Things are costing us more. We're doing more. We have seen an increase in revenue, and part of that is that $300,000 is not going to debt service. So when you look in the budget book, you'll see the debt service page and how available funds are calculated for the operating budget. And when you go through that calculation and compare it to last year's calculation, you'll see that additional $300,000 is flowing from real property tax to the operating budget. Any questions so far?
Questions for me?
I'll continue if there's not. The pages that follow provide solid information, both on what the charter requires of us, what the community profile looks like. There's good things to look at there. I would encourage everyone to then read through the budget assumptions. It's the things that the building blocks, the things that we held in place. And these things include that there's no proposed rate increase as it relates to taxes, and there's no proposed changes to any fees. So there's various charts and graphs that then take a look at the assessable base, very similar to what we had in the state of the town, both for the town generally, as well as for the Calvert tract, which, as a reminder, that is tracked separately as a property that is tax incremental finance. The Calvert tract is Riverdale Park Station. So the tax rates are remaining the same. The business personal property taxes are staying the same. We do have a brief note in here acknowledging House Bill 1243. And with the legislation as it's been amended, the impact on the town has diminished. We were talking 60,000 plus. We're now looking at 15,000 on an annualized basis. There's detail in this document on the debt service. I mentioned that, and then on healthcare and what our premiums have looked like. And then there's information also in this document separate from the fund balance sheet, which gives detailed transfers. That's in the budget book itself. That's not in these documents. But there's information here on the Economic Development Fund. It's important to read through there to see that we're transferring funds into the Economic Development Fund. And I will note, and I think this is really important to know, this budget, we did not rely on any transfers from any other funds. And that's significant. The past 2 years, the current year, we transferred about $147,000 into the operating budget to pay for current expenses. The previous year, we were about $500,000. So this year, we're not relying on any other fund balances transferring into the operating budget to pay for ourselves. On the community development side, there's some things that have been added. And one is that there's $100,000 that's being transferred into there for that line of credit with the fire department to help them administer their grant. So those funds are anticipated. The other thing, and it's not here in this guide, but you'll see it in the anticipated expenses on the fund balance sheet. We have put a placeholder there for the council of $20,000 in the event that you want to have a program specific to trees. That's why we put it there. But if you wanted to have it for something else, there's $20,000 that has been earmarked, if you will, in community development for a council-driven program. On the authorized position schedule, there's information here. It's good to know that while we are proposing adding the economic development coordinator, the Main Street manager, the events coordinator, the project manager, and an additional maintenance specialist, as I mentioned, other positions, both full and part-time, are not being funded or delayed funding or being otherwise eliminated. So when you look at the authorized position schedule, the increase is actually 1.25 year over year. And now we had one position there last year that was unfunded. So if you wanted to add that on and say, what's the actual impact here? It's 2.25 because we had a position that was unfunded that's being funded. And excuse me one moment. The other things in here, I mentioned the 2.5% COLA. Another thing that staff are proposing, so the pay range plan that the town had, and this was through a vendor in 2016. They were working on this right before I arrived. And that pay range plan had 18 steps to it. And giving someone an opportunity over the first 18 years of their career, in addition to COLAs, to having some sort of a salary increase based upon their performance. And most of our employees, I think, are looking at a career longer than 18 years. And so what we've done in the immediate is we've shifted that pay range plan, and you'll see this to go from 18 steps to 20 steps. And so that's actually be 21 years because your first year, you're here a year before you can get a step. And so this provides some longevity for employees. And we're going to propose that not in this budget, but in next year's budget, to have a comprehensive market analysis performed and look for development of a new pay range plan in fiscal 28. So I mentioned, and there's more information in here on inflation. I'd also encourage you on page 25, if you're marking page numbers in this guidebook, to take a look at restricted use operating revenue. There's two primary areas that have restricted use operating revenue. One is neighborhood services. So that includes things like our inspection programs, our rental licensing, our business licensing. The funds that come in from those fees are required to be spent on those activities. Excuse me. And there's an illustration that shows that we anticipate about $225,000 in revenue against $305,000 in expenses. So it doesn't quite pay for itself, but you are bringing in $225,000 against $305,000 in expenditures. So when we look at fees for service for those licensing schemes, and this is within a good margin, your revenue can not routinely exceed your expenses, because then it would be considered a tax, and we don't have that taxing authority. The other area is our public safety restricted use revenue. That's state police aid, that's automated enforcement. And so you see here how those revenues have grown. And if you look on the next chart, I think this is a good illustration. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but if you look at the total public safety cost projected for 27, 6.7 million. When you subtract out the restricted use revenue, it's 3.3. And so when you're talking about where do your general fund dollars go? How much general fund are we spending on public safety? We're spending 3.3 and not the 6.7. We fully anticipate fuel prices rising. Mr. Chelton, if you can go to the next slide. Here's the good news. If there can be good news at paying $4 or $5 at the pump. When we prepared the current year budget, we thought that we would see significant fuel cost increases during this fiscal year. And up until now, that hasn't been realized. So we are under budget. In the current year, we budgeted close to 170. So there's not a big difference in our budgeted cost. It's already baked in. So we can be almost flat year to year and still allow for this increase that we're all experiencing. Well, folks that drive the gas-powered or diesel-powered vehicles are experiencing. We talked about the cost of living adjustments and the healthcare cost. I want to take a minute and talk about defined contribution. So we worked with the actuary. It's Bolton USA is the actuarial firm that the town uses for this. And their most recent analysis that they completed shows that our percent funded has increased. We were operating on a number in the low 70 percentile. Their most recent analysis has us at 78.3%, which is good. It needs to get better, but it shows that both the town's investments and the town's contributions and the employees' contributions are taking effect. And we really want to get that up to, we have written here 90%. It would be nice to be at 90. I'd be happy at 85. But we have to get this, continue to be dedicated to funding the retirements. And overtime expenditures, I want to explain this chart here. It's in the text, but let's just take a look at this chart. Looks like overtime's going up considerably, but it's not. The 2026 estimated is under budget. So we're saying that we're going to spend less. This is another case where the budget, if we were comparing budget to projected budget, it's pretty much flat. We were able to drive the overtime down from the budget number, and that's important that we do that. And then the explanation for the increase year over year is with the salary increase. You're naturally going to have an increase in overtime. Workers' compensation, good news here. And the good news is that our Safety First program is helping. We weren't sure what the number was going to be, but at the end of the day, we got an 18% decrease in our workers' compensation costs. And that's really significant. And that's even adding additional staff. So year over year, 18% decrease. The revenue net operating expenditure is something that I've been talking to the council about for some time. You'll see a spike in 2025. And I would say that the primary reason for that is we were nervous with the new administration and we really contracted. We held positions vacant and we reduced expenditures, and that allowed for more money to be left over at the end of the year. But that was at least in large measure a deliberate contraction in the budget administration. The also in this document are 2 pages about budgeting and the town's values. And so we walk through transportation, the walk, bike, drive safety, the sustainability efforts, things that we're proposing are funded, infrastructure, arts and recreation, community engagement, transparency, ethical governance, best practices, and grants, bond bills, cost sharing. And I want to take a minute to talk about this. So if you go down to page 37, Mr. Shelton. So we have some big projects that we're pursuing currently and that we're proposing, that we've been trying to fund. So I believe everyone's familiar with the town center projects and the $850,000 that we have. We have a fully executed grant agreement now. The Board of Public Works has signed off on that for the $850,000. That's a significant milestone. We have not received official notification on these next several items. However, our read of amendments to some legislation that has gone to the governor for signature is that we appear to be receiving an additional $500,000 for the town center projects, an additional $400,000+ for stormwater project, and a little more than $300,000 for our Purple Line connectivity project. So those things, I'm knocking wood, but staff's read of the amendments that were passed indicate that it's more likely than not that we will receive those funds. That's really significant for an organization of our size to be having those types of funds coming into the town. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll pause again to ask if there's any questions on the guidebook. That includes this guide. Mr. Shelton, if you could minimize this screen.
Thank you, Town Manager. Any questions for the Town Manager?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and apologize. I'm driving right now through the Blue Ridge National Forest, and as much as I wish I was sitting next to my colleague from Ward 2, the view's better out here. Just wondering, and apologize if this is going to come later in the presentation, but 2 questions I had were you mentioned the eliminated positions. Does that involve positions being converted or vacant positions being eliminated, or are we talking reduction in force for current employees there? And then my other question, and again, this is one that, apologize if it's going to come up later, but I'm just wondering what the status of the farmers market dollar program here is in this budget. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you for your question. So in reference to the eliminated positions, one position had been occupied, and that position has been eliminated through action that I initiated. Separately, we have part-time positions that are funded and unoccupied. So it's a combination, sir. In reference to the farmers market dollars, there's $198,000 that was transferred into the Economic Development Fund. That's the fund that we can pay for economic or for farmers market dollar plus. We have money currently in that program, and we anticipate at least a month worth of farmers market dollar plus. And if the council wants to see additional funds in there, that's something that we'd have to figure out.
Understood. Thank you for that response. I know for my piece, I would love to see more for the farmers market dollar program, understanding that it's a balancing act and there's trade-offs everywhere. But, you know, if it's possible to make it work, would love to see that. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr.
Any
Mayor?
other council member? Go ahead.
Thank you. Two questions and then one that you might be getting to. First, just to follow up on the farmers market dollars program. Would it be possible at some point to just have an update on like the utilization of the money that was put in there
Sure.
in the past few months or whenever
Yes.
that was a few months ago?
Yes, that's something that Mr.
Okay.
Shelton can put together and send out to the
Okay.
council.
Thank you. And then a question, just in the pie chart, looking at the various cost centers on page 10 of the
Yes,
budget guide. Can you just quickly explain the difference between police services and then community safety programs?
Yes. Let me get back to that page, Mr. Shelton, if you can do the same for the audience. So police services, think of the police officers. So that's patrol, that's investigations, that's the entire operation of police communications. That's our dispatch. That's our 24/7 police operation. The community safety programs, that is our automated enforcement. So that's automated enforcement expense.
Okay. Thank you. That clarifies it. And so the obviously the primary reason why the police make up such a large portion of the budget is because of the number of staff that are employed, right? That's driven by the salaries. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
My last question, you may be getting to this, was just going to ask about the capital improvement projects. Are you moving on to the summary
So
document now
yes.
or no? Okay.
So in this guidebook does not include CIP.
Right. Yeah.
The summary does. It has a page at the very end that provides just a one page. Here's how much we have, and here's the projects it's going to. And then the budget book has a detailed project sheet for all the different projects.
Okay, so like the specific street and sidewalk improvements that are being planned will be in the budget book?
No, ma'am.
No.
So
Okay.
as it relates to the street and sidewalk projects, so we have a vendor that is currently conducting an assessment of all of our streets. We had hoped to come to you by the end of this month. It may be the first week of May with recommendations for projects. And but we would be presenting those projects to you individually. The budget just identifies streets and sidewalks and has a lump sum dollar amount. And then that would be for that fiscal year's street and sidewalk. And then we would bring individual projects to you. Once you say, yes, we're good with these projects, then we would seek approval to have those, the design work done. And then after the design work's done, we'd come back for approval of a contract to have the work actually performed.
Okay, so you think sometime in May you'll be coming with a list of those?
Yes, Director Lewis, am I right on this time frame? Director Lewis? Perhaps she had to step away. It's my understanding that we'd be bringing these back to you either at the end of April or in May, and suggesting projects.
Okay.
My
Yes.
apologies.
Thank you.
I had difficulty turning on my mic. That's correct, John.
Okay.
Mr. Town Manager, rather.
Thank you, Director Lewis.
Thank you.
The question I had was just around the pay scale, the extension from 18 years to 20 years. Was it just the 19th and 20th year? Was that just keeping the same sort of percentage for those years? Or was there, I can't remember, or did more go into sort of what the increases would be for the 18th and 19th or 19th and 20th year?
So I believe they stay flat at 2%. I don't have that document in front of me this evening, sir. But I believe in the outer years we're at 2%. But everything shifts. It shifted over. You really have to take a look at the current pay scale. You'll see that for the vast majority of staff, there was nothing in step 1 and 2. And so we shifted everything over. So the top bar, which identified the percent increase from year to year, that remained unchanged. Everything shifted over. And but it is to provide the possibility of something more than a COLA. Because as it stands now, when someone exceeds their the pay range plan in terms of steps, then the only thing they're eligible for is a cost of living adjustment. So in their last 2 or 5 years of service, there was no room for any merit increases. And we're trying to make sure we stay as competitive as we can. And that includes with our more experienced staff.
Thank you. Makes sense. Okay. Any other questions from council on the budget book presentation that was just given? Okay. Are you going to cover the CIP, that one pager, or?
Yes. So I want to cover a few things in the summary. So what we just covered now, and what I would encourage everyone to read through. We will have this emailed out and online tomorrow. Yes. So by tomorrow, this will be online and emailed out. So I'd encourage everyone to go through the budget guide. Mr. Shelton, if we could go to the budget summary. I'm just going to briefly go through what this document is, what it isn't, what's contained in here, things to look for. So in this summary document, it starts off, there's a condensed version of my memo to you all, explaining what this budget is, what our focus has been. But if you look on page 4 of the budget, this is where you're going to start to see numbers. And so we run through from fiscal 25 actual numbers, 26 actual, or 26 approved budget, estimated actual, 27 budget, and then what percent. And we do this by operating revenue and operating expenditures. And so you see how the budget has grown over the last several years and where it has grown over the last several years. When you go into starting with page 5, This is where things are broken down by cost center. So mayor and council's a cost center, administrative services, public projects and services, our police department, various aspects of our police department, they're all different cost centers. So if we move beyond the mayor and council's cost center, let's take a look at administrative services and just explain what's on this sheet. So page 7, Mr. Shelton. So what's on this sheet, you'll see salary and wages, employee benefits, overtime, contractual services, operating expenditures, and other general expenditures. So those are the major categories of the budget within this cost center. And then on the right side, you'll see the staff headcount. So you'll see changes in headcount. One thing that we worked with the auditors on, and we're really working to get away from splitting salaries between cost centers. There's not an easy way for us to track this with where we are in our payroll system. And so it became more trouble than benefit. So we have moved away from splitting. There may still be some splits, but it's a general direction we're going to stop trying to account for a part of a position in a different cost center. Because frankly, we're a small team. We all work together and we all end up working on the same things. There's value in having separate cost centers, but we had divided things out considerably. When you page down in the center part of this page, you'll see some illustrations, and the illustrations will show expenditures by category, by year, and total expenditures by year. And again, this is just for administrative services. Then at the bottom of the page, in addition to the photograph there, is a useful pie chart that shows what percent are we looking at for each of these major categories of expense. And then with every cost center, you see on the next page, there's a narrative description of what's actually going on in this cost center. And so it talks about the budget increases for different positions, things of that nature, the benefit increases. And so that's really the significant changes are on the second page of the summary for each cost center. So you have the cost center, you look at the page following that, and that tells you really what's happening in that cost center. And so all the cost centers are here. And at the very end of this document, let me get to the CIP. So on page 41, there's a description of CIP. And then on page 42, there's an explanation of the various projects, both current projects and new projects, and what these projects are anticipated to cost, and whether it's restricted revenue or unrestricted revenue. And the budget book will have a separate sheet for each project. And there's a new format for those sheets this year. We've tried to simplify this. Mr. Jones reached out to GFOA, got examples of what other jurisdictions are doing to streamline it, make it more understandable. And so on those new sheets, you'll see a total anticipated cost. Then you'll see what the cost is projected to be for fiscal 2027, and then a detailed description of the project, along with a banner underneath showing what phase are we in, what stage, or have we moved out of design? Are we now in construction? are we still in concept? And it's a good visual cue to for someone to look at and say, where is the town at on this project? And so I look forward to feedback on that document once you have the budget book later this week to hear feedback, whether that's something that you like or if you want us to revert back to what we did in the past. I've already covered that we anticipate significant grant funds. We heard in the state of the town that we have a lot of other grant applications out there. And so we're making good progress on that. And then I would just conclude, Mr. Mayor, by saying a lot goes into this and it's a lot to digest. We're hopeful that these two tools, and that's how we view them, these condensed versions of the budget, help the council and the community focus in so we as a town can be more transparent, so the budget's more understandable to the casual observer, not just those who want to dig into the more detailed book. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll conclude and ask if there's any additional questions for this evening.
Thank you, Town Manager. Any questions for the Town Manager on any of the budget items that were covered today? Okay. Well, thank you. I think I know the budget summaries were, I've seen the progression from my time being on council when they didn't exist until they started to be existing. And I think they are probably, I don't know if other people do them, other municipalities, but I think it is an interesting way to be able to dive in and get an understanding of what things are. And so definitely appreciate the work that goes into not just the budget itself, but then these tools, as you mentioned, to make them more streamlined and easily accessible. So thank you for that. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items, which are the meeting minutes for the March 25th meeting, the special legislative meeting on March 2nd? Is there a
Mr. Mayor?
motion to approve the Councilmember Pho?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Seconded.
Motion by Councilmember Pho and seconded by Councilmember Worsnop. We won't debate this, so we'll go straight to a roll call vote. Councilmember, I don't see Councilmember Smith on. Maybe he lost service. So we'll go to Councilmember Pho.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua. Councilmember Lingua. Okay, we'll come back to Councilmember Worsnop.
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua, are you available to vote on the consent agenda? You're on mute if you are trying to vote. Okay. And I will also vote aye, and the motion will pass 4-0. Okay. Next up, we have legislative action items. The first is the motion to adopt the street closure request for Ravenswood Road. We've talked about this before, and so I think, is there a motion, and then we can discuss it if there's any questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember.
Motion to approve street closure request for approximately 150 feet in front of 4702 Ravenswood Road for the Ravenswood Community Forest grand opening from 5 to 7 p.m. on May 15th, 2026 and June 6th, 2026 as a potential rain date.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Motion by Councilmember Pho and second by Councilmember Worsnop. Any discussion on this motion? It's for a good cause for the grand opening. I think this is something that it's a long time in the making, and so having the festivities right in front of that park will be an awesome event. Happy to close the streets in order to do that safely. Okay. Hearing no other discussion, then we'll go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua. Councilmember Lingua, are you there? Councilmember Worsnop.
Aye.
Councilmember Kalan.
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The motion passes 4-0 with an abstention. Okay. Thank you for that. Next on the legislative item, we have motion to authorize the town manager for the KCI Technologies task order contract for the Walk Bike Drive Advisory Committee. Is there a motion, and then we can second, and then is there discussion on the motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Foe to authorize the town manager to sign a task order contract with KC Technologies for amount not to exceed $25,000 to support the Walk Bike Drive Advisory Committee, envisioning a safe connected Purple Line area project, and second by Councilmember Cologne. Any discussion on the item, on the motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember.
We have tasked our Walk, Bike, and Drive Advisory Committee with envisioning a safe and connected Purple Line area project. If you drive throughout the area, you will see the need for this plan and proposal. Devastated by rainwater, devastated by construction, traffic in perpetuity, pedestrian traffic in perpetuity. This is an area that needs to be highlighted for the safety of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'll echo that, and I appreciate the Walk Bike Drive Committee sort of stepping up to this ask, and as well as advocating for the need for some professional help, and so fully in line in support of these funds towards this project. Okay. Hearing no other comments or questions on the motion, I'll go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua, are you there? Okay, we might have lost Councilmember Lingua. Councilmember Worsnop?
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. The motion passes 4-0. Okay. And last legislative item is the council rules of procedure. And so first I'll ask, is there a motion? And then we can discuss if there's questions.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Foe.
I would like to motion to adopt resolution 2026-R-08 regarding council rules of procedure.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, seconded by Councilmember Worsnop. Any discussion on the resolution?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember.
Fully support this motion. Just want to thank you for your work and the input from council. Looking forward to having these in place.
Thank you, Councilmember. I appreciate the effort into this. I know this is a few months in the making, but this is I think a strong first step in terms of what our vision is for this body, not just how we work, but why we work, and a good guiding principle. And I look forward to not only adopting it and using it, but also making amendments as necessary. And this should be a living, breathing document that every administration should come in and have to revalidate that it makes the most sense, change is necessary. So I appreciate all the effort that went into the support, the feedback, the comments, the questions, and making this a reality. Any other comments from this resolution? Okay, hearing none, I will go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua, Councilmember Warstock,
Aye.
Councilmember Kalan,
Aye.
and I also vote aye. The motion passes 4-0. Okay, thank you. Rules of procedure are official. All right, next up, we have unfinished business, which is around the task order contract for ECM Corporation to construct the Lazy Meadow concept for Phase 2 of the Adam and Emily Plummer Park. I know we didn't discuss this. Is there anything, Mr. Town Manager, do you want to touch on this before we vote on the motion?
The only thing I would say is that this has been a long time coming, and Director Lewis has done a good job navigating lots of barriers along the way. And what we're glad that we can move forward on this next phase of the Adam and Emily Plummer Park.
Thank you. Is there a motion from council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Foe.
I would like to motion to authorize the town manager to sign a task order contract with ECM Corporation to develop the Lazy Meadow concept for Phase 2 of Adam and Emily Plummer Park for an amount not to exceed $214,500, reflecting a 10% contingency.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Kalan. We'll go to discussion. Any discussion on this motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember.
I am just remarkably proud to be a part of the team that is pushing this forward. This has evolved from a park to a much more substantive plan than I had ever envisioned. So just to be among the many dialoguing about this now and getting to see work start again in this space is one of the most prideful moments of my professional career. And I'm just super happy. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other comments from council?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Warstock.
Second to the comments just made by my colleague. Also, just a quick question. Just looking, so the 3 phases are described here. This design for the Lazy Meadow, I don't think I was part of council when this was first looked at and approved. Or have there been any changes made to this part of the design?
Director Lewis.
If I may, no, it's
Okay.
pretty much the concept that the community supported, I think back in 2019.
Thank you. And does staff have, are you planning to move ahead on the other 2 phases? I see the comments on the tree planting, but on the playground and the shade structure that we will discuss next fiscal year. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be a part of the commemorative overlay. So
Okay,
we
so-
discussed at that time.
Okay. I see. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And I'll just add as well, I think this is something that in some ways this was always part of the plan, and I know it got held up for a variety of reasons. So Director Lewis, I appreciate the work behind the scenes to make it a reality, while also, as we think through what does the next phases look like and how does that, get some of that important work done. I think it's great to see progress on this. And so it's something that I'm really, I appreciate this, moving forward, because Uh, the last thing I would want is this project to lose steam. And when folks see construction happening and a design become a reality, it gives everyone a renewed sense of, uh, hope that we'll land in a place where we aspire to. And so this is an important stage because this is going to be the main crux of what this park is. So I appreciate it. Hopefully there are no issues. We arrive on time, under budget. But we appreciate this, and so thank you for the work that went into this part. Obviously, like as you mentioned, years in the making.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll go to roll call vote. Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Warsnop,
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua. Okay, and then I don't hear him, so I'll go myself. I'll also vote aye, and the motion will pass 4-0. Thank you, Dr. Lewis, for that as well. Okay, next we have an item of new business about a fence permit request.
Good evening, Mayor Yang and members of the council. Tonight we have before you a fence permit request for a 6-foot high wood privacy fence in the side, actually rear yard of 6307 51st Avenue. Staff received this application earlier this week from Mr. Jorge Bonilla. We ask that this be on the agenda tonight to avoid the applicant having to wait an entire month to install their fence. We have found that the applicant has obtained the proper permits. This fence permit is actually, or this property is actually in the floodplain. So the entire fence itself is in the floodplain. The county required them to record a covenant, which is attached to this application. So there are certain requirements that the county has related to the installation of the fence. So for example, the fence has to have a certain gap at the bottom. This fence will replace a chain link fence on either side of the property. I believe one side, the applicant is planning to remove the chain link fence. He was on the fence about removing the second chain link fence. We did offer the accessory grant application as maybe an incentive perhaps to remove the other chain link fencing. That hasn't been clarified yet whether he intends to do that, but it'll be a new wood fence, 6 foot tall with the 6-inch gap at the bottom as we discussed, as required by the county for the stormwater related potential impact because it's in the floodplain. We report that all of the required documentation is in place, and the applicant is very much looking forward to moving his project forward as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. How about, is there a motion to approve the fence permit request for 6-foot high wood privacy fence in the rear side yard of 6307 51st Avenue?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Motion by Councilmember Foe and second by Councilmember Warsnop. Any comments or questions on this application? I'll just say I appreciate staff for helping to do the vetting and bringing it in as part of new business. It is sort of an emergency in some ways, in the sense of we know the timing of these elements are sensitive, and for something that's pretty straightforward, it makes sense to be able to get this in so they don't have to wait until May at this point. Okay. Any other comments or questions from council on this? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to a roll call vote. Councilmember Foe,
Aye.
Councilmember Warsnop,
Aye.
Councilmember Cologne,
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Aye.
Okay, there we go. And I also vote aye. The motion passes 5-0. Okay, thank you for bringing that on the agenda. And that is it for new business. Next up, we have our reports. And next is the mayor's report. And so I will keep my remarks brief. Um, One, I'll just say, obviously, thank you for staff for the state of the town and the presentation. It was, I always remark that I feel like I'm one of the more plugged in folks in town, but even sitting through the presentation, I end up learning a lot about what does it look like to uh, provide services for a town that's not only our size, but our scope and all the work that goes into it. And then, really sort of seeing the 10 years in the past of sort of how much we've gone, how the progress that has been made in the last 10 years. Um, and how in some ways it's not even it's completely indistinguishable in terms of like what it used to be, and the progress that's been made, and then really the homework and the burden of what does the next 10 years look like and the goals that look like that, the goals that we need to think through now in the next 18 to 24 months in order to set ourselves forward for that. Has me thinking about how to, as a council, how do we revisit some of the goals that came out of our retreat. How do we double down and think about what does that look like moving forward, especially as we close in on 1 year together, which is surprising, but we're already in April, and pretty soon it'll be June, and we'll be talking about the 1 year mark, and so um, to start identifying what are the one or two goals, what do we see that we adventure to do that we haven't either done as enough or town staff need more clarity in order to help move forward. I've got a couple items in mind, but we'll want to have a larger conversation, probably doing one of our work sessions to think through what does that look like. Obviously it's budget season, and April, I know it's going to be a demanding month for council, for staff, for residents. Um, and I just want to say thank you ahead of time for the work that goes into dedicating a lot of Mondays to sort of go through this budget. But I think it's important. Obviously, it says what our values are in terms of what we invest in and what we prioritize. And thank you for staff for all the work to continue to explain, streamline, make it easier, remove clutter, and find opportunities for folks to be able to see the budget book and understand it. I look forward to stopping by and picking up my enormous binder, um, and sort of going through it. Um, but I'm looking forward to that conversation, and I know I always feel grateful because it's not always a fit. We may not, I don't want us to take it for granted that we're going in with an assumption of already having a balanced budget. And I know a lot of work went into that. And so now we're having conversations on, you know, where do we want to invest more in and pull back from, but not having to do the Herculean task of, trying to get a budget to start with. I know a lot goes into that. So definitely appreciative of that. Um, I believe today was the last day of the legislative session in Annapolis. And if it's not this week today, it was next week, but I'm pretty sure it's today. But I know a lot has gone into the legislative session. It was a crash course for me in terms of um, how the process works, how and best to sort of advocate for, our town and what we need. And I'm sure there'll be more that I could do next year, and as a council, more that we can do, and something that I think it would make sense to think about how, as a council and a community, we better equip ourselves, stay better informed on what goes on and what happens, and how we can even better position ourselves. But I want to thank the delegation, and I'm sure we'll try to find some opportunity once the dust settles to maybe have them come in and maybe do a presentation on what happened and how it impacted us. And so I'll work with Senator Washington's office and the delegates, to sort of see what that looks like and if that's possible. And looking forward to taking pictures with very big checks. And once that gets fully finalized, I look forward to know what the final amounts are. But preliminarily, it seems like we did well for ourselves, which is again a testament to a lot of the work behind the scenes that goes into making that a reality. Um, and then just lastly, the um, I'm appreciative of the work for a lot of the volunteers. Um, we've talked about the Walk Bike Drive Committee as an example, but it just had me thinking and reflecting on just how many residents sort of volunteer their time um, and do a lot of hard work in order to help literally move our town forward. And that level of investment says a lot. I think about the sustainability committee's presentation last week, which was a lot to chew on and a lot to think through. But I feel like it advanced a lot of conversations that we've been thinking about forward. And so I look forward to breaking those down and seeing what are easy wins and then what are things that we should have more nuanced conversations. Um, but that's not guaranteed. I try not to take for granted that you will have residents sort of willing to spend the time, step up, share their time and their talents and with the town in order to make us a better institution and a better community for not just for this year, but moving forward. And so with that, I'll wrap up my mayor's report and pass it over to the town manager for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things. So later this week, we will be re-releasing the RFP for municipal legal services. Reported last week, we had only had that one response. So the staff rejected all responses, and we're re-releasing along with, as Mr. Hayter shared last week, we're doing direct outreach to a variety of firms that are in the business of providing municipal legal services, encouraging them to respond to the RFP. So we held a spring egg hunt back on the 25th at Riversdale House Museum, working with them in partnership. And we had approximately 340 people attend. So it's a good event. So the fire department also contributed to making the event successful. So we want to thank them. The MML, this is just a reminder, summer conference will be held June 14th through the 17th in Ocean City. If members of the council are interested in attending, if you have not yet conveyed that to the deputy town manager, then please do so. A reminder from the Ethics Commission, the calendar year 25 financial disclosure forms are due no later than Thursday, April 30th. We start our public meetings, hearings on the budget on the beginning next Monday. And we will put this in an email to you all, but it's from the budget calendar that we published back in November. And that is the schedule for what's anticipated to be covered at these meetings. So you'll be able to know what cost centers and that staff are planning to present. I will say this is a lot of information. So I would encourage members of the council, as you go through the summary and the guide, and then later this week, the full budget book, as you go through those documents, if you have questions, please send me an email, call me, and I can get with Mr. Jones and Mr. Smith or with the deputy town manager or department heads, we can get you answers and be prepared. So we're making the best use of your time. And so that would be helpful. And then also then on April 20th, we'd have our second meeting. Right now, the approval process, we're looking at introducing an ordinance at the end of the month, and then having a tax rate public hearing. Again, no changes to the tax rate are being proposed, but having that hearing on May 4th. Every year, it seems the county moves things up. We haven't heard from them yet this year, what day they expect us to have the reported tax rates to them. It used to be the first week of June, then it became the last week of May, then it became the third week of May. So my anticipation is probably by the third week of May, unless we hear differently from them. We have to have a adopted budget so we can report the tax rates to the county so they can begin their process of billing the town's taxes. And with that, Mr. Mayor, if there's any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. And I was one of the 300 plus people for the egg hunt, so it was actually a fantastic event. And Deputy Town Manager ordered the good weather too, so thank you for that. Okay. Next we'll go to our council reports. If there's no other questions to the town manager on his report. Okay, seeing no hands raised or unmuted mics, we'll go to Councilmember Foe for Ward 2.
Mr. Mayor, in lieu of tonight's national championship game, I will hold comments to the many public meetings we have upcoming in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Lingle, Ward 3.
Wow. Okay. I'll keep this brief as well. A couple items I did want to bring up. One being, I want to make folks aware of a letter that was sent by Mr. Steve Hardig regarding the commentary on the Kenilworth Avenue PSAP meeting that was held on March 9th, the workshop. And he sent a very thorough, very in-depth commentary. It's about 22 pages regarding some designs that I think would be good for all of us to take a look at and see these comments that were made. Really dove into design standards and how things are set up, and so as to make any changes that are coming to that area that much better for in and around the Purple Line stop that's going to be there at Kenilworth Avenue and Maryland 410. I'll be sending along the email that I had. I know I've sent some comments. Some folks have received. We're on a CC on comments I sent back to Mr. Hardig. I'll make sure that I get this out to other members of the council so they can look at, and we can possibly talk about in the future. I think it's just a very, very solid piece of work from one of the members. Well, Mr. Hardig wrote as just as a resident of the town, but he's also a member of the Walk, Bike, Drive Committee as well. One more sad note. Town has lost one of its more noted residents who provided many a service for better part of, well, close to almost 40 years in town. Ms. Novella Sargison has passed away. She passed away in March. And she, along with being a wife, mother, foster parent as well, she ran Four Steps daycare right there on Taylor Road up until about just a few years ago, which then she curtailed that business and so they then sold that house. They sold that property, put it up for sale. She, as daycares go, you could say that Miss Sargison, she had repeat customers, so to speak, in the sense that kids who their parents enrolled them there later on when they grew up and were married, and then had families of their own, they would bring their kids there for daycare. And she's also known for having quite the display at Halloween out in her yard there at the corner of Taylor and Oglethorpe. She was also a person who cared deeply about this community. Number of times running for council, then finally getting elected to council in 2005, which unfortunately she wasn't able to complete her term because due to an accident at her home and then her recovery from that, between all the things that she was doing, she needed to step down from council so as that she could get better and be the person that she needed to be, both for her family and for the daycare. But she was a woman who cared deeply and greatly about this community. And she was one who she was one of those people who really, in her own way, made Riverdale Park very special. And I think, she's going to be greatly missed. With that, I will conclude my report.
Thank you, Councilmember, and thank you for the eulogy. And anytime you lose a former council member in town, it means a lot. But not just because of her town council, but also for all the generations of families she impacted. So thank you for sharing that, and let's connect offline to see if there's something that we can do for the family.
Sure, happy to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Worsnop, Ward 4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two items quickly. The first is just wanted to thank staff and also the Office of Council Member Jolene Ivy for putting together the session a few weeks ago about the ground murals that several of us attended that are aimed at increasing pedestrian safety. I really support this project and hope that we can make this happen in a few places around town. Just one example of the different ways that we are trying to promote pedestrian safety. So looking forward to seeing that develop. Then second, I wanted to thank staff for their support and help getting some changes done at the intersection of the bike path and Woodbury and Van Buren going into town center, working with the county on that since we've seen increasing incidents of cars driving down the bike path. So also looking forward to seeing that come together hopefully soon. So thank you so much to staff. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember. And finally, Ward 6, Councilmember Kalan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will say thanks to all of you during the Ramadan month, and you people always allow me to do my ritual duty. And I pray for all of you. I pray for the town of Riverdale, Maryland State, and America as a whole. I pray for all of you. I thank all of you. May God bless us. May God give us long life and prosperity. May God make us stay united. May God make we understand ourselves. So if I reach there, I say thanks to all of you. Thank you. I stop there.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you all for your reports. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Foe, second by Councilmember Kalan. We don't debate it, so we'll go straight to a roll call vote. Councilmember Foe.
Aye.
Councilmember Lingua.
Hi.
Councilmember Warsnott.
Aye.
Councilmember Kalan.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned at 7:40. Well, it's 7:47 my time because I'm in St. Louis, but 8:47 local time. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your night. Take care.
Good night.
Mr. Shelton, please stop the Zoom meeting.